Good morning, everybody. We're curious about why you're here, what you think you want. And, we're also so aware of wanting to set a good stage for the class for both today, but long term. And so I know we want to get to a conversation about really looking at the values and some of the agreements that we make in the class. And I sent the email with some of the agreements, and one I just want to name kind of loud and clear, which is confidentiality. That I want this to be a space, even though we're not a therapy group, we are therapeutic, right? It's like the work happens and we're going to facilitate each other on purpose and use the tools and practice with them, and sometimes get a little bit raw, and other times be super just like contained. And so in that, I want to make space for us to have that room. And that includes just being confidential with each other's stories, with their sharings, making sure that later, if you're talking to someone, you're not dropping names about, who said what. I mean, I think it's up to you. Most people don't mind that people know they're in the group, but it's different to be then sharing something you said specifically. So being really aware of like what your needs are around that. Also, even in the container, like we go into breakout groups and we come back and we want to share what we learned, but just to make sure you ask your partner if it's about them, that you ask them first, because they may have felt really open with you over here, but as soon as they're back in this space, they're like, wow, I don't actually really want to talk about that in this space, So we want to be and we'll keep resetting it. We have one of our values is it's really a reset culture, and it's everything from, I might mispronounce someone, or I talked over you by mistake and I noticed, and so I'm coming back to see if that was okay. The consent, or if I forget to ask for consent, it's okay to call that out and stop for a minute and breathe, but mostly so that we can reset and start over. It's a vulnerable dance to go into learning a healing modality that's about energy and people and connection inside of a Zoom. It's vulnerable anyway, but now we're in a Zoom platform, we're seeing your houses and we're in your lives, and it's kind of this mixed blessing of like, wow, I really feel like I'm in your world for a moment. And at the same time, I'm on the screen, which is very dissociated from you, right? Because like I can't actually touch you. And so I just want to be even more aware of these kind of confidentialities and our willingness to sort of shake off something that, that happens, and being able to come back and redo and reset ourselves. And if everybody's in agreement with that, I would love the little thumbs up on your screen, the little, any emoji on the screen, or a thumbs up is great, but hold it there long enough that I see it. Great. That Chloe and I can actually see. And again, if you have a little, I can see Crystal's not there, but thank you. That's helpful. Thank you. Right, because we'll dive in and learn, and I want you to learn by experience, because that's really what's valuable to me, that we learn by having the experiences together. And thank you. Good. I feel like I want to just popcorn and hear a little bit about what you're hoping for, without being aware of, cognizant of time and connection. But I want to hear, I don't think it has to be in any kind of order, but if people want to share a few sentences about what got you here, either what got you here or what you're hoping to get out of being here, either is fine with me. Whatever feels stirred up to share. Does that feel generative, Chloe?
Yeah, feels great.
Yeah.
Help us land and get to know each other a little bit.
Yeah.
Really sweet.
And I want to do one clearing first. So I'm just going to use the tools, and then we'll keep teaching them and using them. And if you have questions about them, some of you know them, some of you don't worry about that. But I just want to do a quick clearing on the visual and emotional and energetic, subtle injuries that happen when we look at someone and make up a story, right? Or we think they're looking at us and making up a story. And all this shit about, do I belong or not belong? Do I fit? Do I not fit? Am I going to be good enough or not good enough? Oh, I didn't know the name of my native American tribes that lived here before me. It's like all the shit that we could do to torture ourselves and feel like we have just isolated ourselves to not belonging or to being better, like hierarchying, better or worse. Like it's part of that white supremacist culture that Chloe and I are so devoted to tearing apart and being conscious of, so that we don't already, like by looking at the screen, so-and-so could look like your, friend's partner who was mean to you for a year, and maybe you're already having weird synapses and you don't know the person, and some of that's conscious and some of it's not. So I guess my first invitation, are we all willing to clear any points of view that are coming up about each other already? And would you be willing to keep doing that the whole time we're together, so that, not that you have to keep your attention on it, but we're going to come back to this a lot. So because what we want to do is make sure that we don't pin each other in boxes. The whole idea of the infinity is that we're liberating our essence so that we actually can be more conscious of our choices. And so we don't want to unconsciously pin each other or ourselves into boxes. Some of us, I don't know. I mean, I've had trauma in groups. I don't know if other people have had trauma in groups, but I don't think I'm the only person who's ever had a trauma being in a group setting before. Zoom can make it easier or worse, right? So like, if that's happened to you, then that could stimulate some really weird patterns here that we're going to try not to like trap you in. So I'll offer it, you choose it or not. I'm going to clear energetically, and clearing is not to like fix it and make it go away and like pretend it doesn't exist, but clearing so that we can be aware of what we're doing. I want consciousness around it. I want to go like, wow, I keep getting snagged over and over and over. And maybe even that same person is snagging me. Well, then I know I need to actually reach out to Gabrielle and Chloe and say, I'm getting snagged. Can you help me through it? You know, like I need some help, right? Like I don't want to get snagged. Whatever those things are. So let's clear all the points of view we may have already consciously or unconsciously made about each other, even yours about me or Chloe, even if they're great. What if we clear those too? Like, what if we just have faith that if something's positive and strong and powerful for us, it'll return. Like we don't have to grip it and hold it and make it something. So let's liberate everybody. Let's liberate each other from the points of view that we have about one another in this circle or not in this circle, as family, not as family, as friends, not as friends, in isolation or in community. And woo, commanding the light of consciousness to clear all of that. Woo, and activate change and generate healing immediately. Anybody notice anything? Feeling some moving energies. So we will feel. We're probably going to feel. We're going to remind your body that it's okay to feel. And that feeling doesn't always mean we're having a panic attack or something bad is happening or we're supposed to be freaking out. Feel a lot. And Chloe and I make like shudder and shake and sometimes make, you know, like breathe hard and like, you know, sounds funny, but it's happening anyway. We can just like try to close it all in and make it happen through our cute little nervous systems and trash ourselves with intensity, right? Or we can just get comfortable shaking it off however we need to. You might never need that. That's what I've needed, right? So it's okay to like let yourself feel here what's moving and to notice that. Okay, I'm gonna circle back around to where we were going, which is like anybody who wants to just open up, and we'll stay in gallery so we can feel our wholeness this time. Open up your screen and just say your name again, and either why you're here, what you hope for by being here. And I'm going to trust your knowing, like I'm going to trust that you know when it's your turn to speak. I'm going to let you, rather than thinking also, because these are super social grids that make us crazy, which is like, I'm never supposed to go first, or I have to wait until everybody speaks, or, and yet I'm having such a like, oh, I need to speak now, you know, like feel, just feel, does it feel light? Do you have a sense of like, okay, this is my moment to share? And then go ahead if you do, and see if we can follow that. Great. Thank you. I would, it highlighted a resonance for me that I know Chloe and I have both worked with a lot, which is like also the energy of other things, like whether they're toxins or chemicals or smells or, you know, things that are coming in the body, or illnesses I have that I don't know I have, bacteria, you know, like those kind of things, like that all seems like it's also in the invisible realm, because it's not as, it's like a VOC isn't as obvious, even though you might smell it, you might not, you know, so all those other invisible things that partner with us. And I know that Chloe and I really love the mapping, you know, the learning how to map. And so one of the things I'll arc into this is that, you know, hope we'll have some time in this 7 months together to really start to feel what it feels like to be able to map what we're sensing, right? So that we can identify something that might be in that invisible realm, both that could be spiritual and energetic that way, but also that could actually be physical, not visible. And so, yeah, just want to say that. Thank you. It's powerful to just feel what gets us here. You know, it's like you can feel such presencing coming through as you're just naming. And there's vulnerability in your sharing. So I just want to also acknowledge for a group that hasn't met each other, I can feel the vulnerability and the reach to really share why you're here, not to just be like, oh, I'm here because I, you know, like infinity, you know, like whatever, but I want to feel better, you know, like, but I'm hearing you. And so I just want to acknowledge each of you and those of you taking those risks to really name that. Right?
Yeah. That's so sweet.